Hello and welcome to another Top Advisor Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Halloran, joined today by Kirk Lowe. We are going to do our marketing predictions for 2025, and we want all of you to hold us accountable. If we are off, if we miss something, please in 2026, refer back to this episode when you see us at conferences, or you can direct message us, and we'd like to know what you think we should have said even better. Now, we're going to go through 7 different predictions. So this is going to be a little longer of a podcast, just so that everybody knows, we're really usually a tight 30, but we're going to dive into some stuff a little bit deeper here. And we want to make sure we're just setting that expectation on the front end. Okay, Kirk, AI is all the rage, brother. You know this. You've been living this, eating and breathing this. Both of us are consumers and users of AI, but it's going to streamline the marketing process. We know that, but there still needs to be a human touch. What is your prediction?
Yeah, well, that's really it. AI is an incredible tool and business changing, potentially. The thing is it right now it's all based around what you know and not what AI knows. What I mean by that is it will get you part of the way there. And the reason we're saying this is because our standpoint, and it should be yours as well, is that authentic content that proves you're the expert is the answer here. There's no alternative. Even if somebody tells you that purchasing content can complement, right? Or somebody else's content can complement what you do, but it can't be what you do, who you are, right? So the human is always so important. And you'll hear a lot about this. You'll hear a lot of things about AI, obviously. It's, the number one topic, and it's going to continue to be. But what you know and how you want to deliver it and how you understand your audience is something that you need to own and that you do own. And you need to be able to prompt AI with what you already know, and then it'll produce much better outcomes. So here's some different things to think about. It'll get you 50% of the way there, for example. So if you put in what you know and show and explain exactly how you want the output to look like and then what you're looking for in that format, like things and items and elements. So I want stats, I want a joke, whatever. And then you put that together and you're very clear about the purpose, the format, all that kind of stuff, and the topic, and you give it the ideas. So you actually give it the content, the points that you want, and say, did I miss anything? Like Matt just talked about. It was like he was talking to AI, but that's not me. We started the show. And by the way, if we ever hit 30 minutes on the nose, I think confetti cannons are going to go off because we've never done it yet. But Matt is a dreamer. So anyway, so that 50% of the way there is a great place. I think if for the authentic content creators, it's just another way to get to a finished product quicker. So other things that you can do is it's amazing for research, right? Keep in mind that the language model is dated, so it's not the most recent stuff. So that is limiting, depending on what you're looking for. And you can. So I already talked about adding your thought leadership, which is a big one. Do not use it to create your own thought leadership. Having said that, you can use it for research. So if you want to know or you want to compare what you think what AI brings back, which actually could be a really great show, right? That actually may prove how people can use AI or not on your topic. Just a thought, a thought for us and for you. Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah.
And you can use it to figure out what your audience wants to listen to. So maybe not as good at figuring out what they are listening to, because the language model is usually, I think, a year behind. Hopefully I'm not off on that. But the language models are not, up to date in the last, couple months or a couple weeks, or certainly not daily. So you have to keep that in mind. Having said that, there's lots of things that don't change a lot. So I'm not sure it matters. It depends. So those are some, ways that AI will streamline. Obviously, it can help you with processes. It can help you with data and personalization. It can help you with things that are, for lack of a better word, monotonous, that are easily repeatable, that get repeated a lot. And there's and you can use data to tell it to do that for you. That is a little bit more complicated than just using ChatGPT or Gemini, for example. But there are a lot of other ways to use AI. But for content purposes and marketing purposes, those are the simple ones that you can probably get to right now, and that's what we wanted to stick to today on this call.
And just there's it's only going to keep getting better, which is, I'm going to put a secondary layer of prediction there. The idea of that legacy lag that, the LLMs are all based from a year ago. Yeah. I think that's going to be compressing in 25. I think that's going to be one of their biggest goals, is to not necessarily make it in real time, but as close in real time as possible. All right. You used the word authentic like 30 times in that beginning, opening about AI. Let's talk about authentic content. This is our next prediction. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm just staying true to myself. I always jump ahead and answer. When I'm on point 1, I answer point 2 and 3. But that's how we roll here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So canned, pre-approved, ghost-written content can hurt you more than it can help you. So it depends on how you use it, though, right? So if you're producing authentic and you complement with other content that's pre-done, then that can be a really wonderful formula, right? There's efficiency there. Having said that, our model here, which you can implement for yourself, the atomization model, is essentially create a long form piece of content, break that into small micro content, and that becomes your complementary content, right? If you need more, then you can do that. But that is actually quite fulfilling for your social media, potentially your email and your blog, all those things, just going from large format to smaller format. So you can do that. Other effective, authentic content things, obviously podcasting. And we've been trying to, if you've seen some of our marketing recently, you'll notice that we're trying to say, ProudMouth is not just a podcasting company. We've been labeled that a little bit more than we'd like to be. It is, we're very proud of that. But what we really are is a content machine, right? An influence accelerator. And so what we love about podcasting, and I don't see this changing in the near future, that's for sure. I'm not sure I see it changing for a lot of reasons, because it's just a great medium to feel like you're just having a conversation with a friend or a colleague, and you're not on stage, but you can be comfortable, and that kind of transcends being on stage. So it's like you are on stage, but it doesn't feel like you are, so you can be yourself.
Yeah.
And that is a really wonderful thing to be when you're recording a podcast, and then take the video. Obviously, you have to have video. You can't ignore video. It's so important. And where video and audio, I think, are incredible together as a 1-2 punch, is video is really good to capture awareness and attention and views. So short form or mid form content, and then drive to long form. Long form is where you really build the credibility, and both of them build credibility. But I think together, and if somebody tells you just do video, why wouldn't they just tell you to just do blog posts or just do Facebook and ignore all the other? There is no competent expert who's trying to help you that should be telling you to do one thing, one tactic over another. Now, if you've got to get started on something, right? You're just getting started, you're new to marketing, and you got to start building something. In those cases, you could look at a couple of tactics. But if you're talking about not doing one thing because something else performs better, because a study said that, you don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry, I get a little bit worked up about stuff like this, because studies, I mean, we use them too.
Yeah.
And everybody loves to find a stat in a report that supports what they do and sell, right? Everybody loves that. But if it's out of left field, you know anything about the report, it's not industry specific, there's no clarity as far as what were how the report actually unfolded, it's basically useless information.
Yeah.
It's just the noise and the BS that keeps professionals like you listening to our podcast the information that you need to actually move forward in your marketing.
Yeah.
It's just start and stop crap. And I'm a little bit frustrated by it, as you can tell. As marketing professionals, we need to tell you guys the truth all the time. And if we spout stuff that is a half truth and we don't tell the whole truth somewhere in there, to me, that's damaging the credibility of marketing, and that frustrates me. But more than anything, it kills your ability as experts to go out in there and compete in the expertise economy and build a business that can establish recurring, sustainable organic growth. And that is not happening. And I feel like marketers are part of the reason. Maybe too much of a reason for my value system and Matt's was we want you to understand how to do the right stuff. So video, pulling clips, which is kind of obvious from your podcast or your video. So if you're doing medium format video, you could pull shorter stuff, but short video is incredible for getting people's attention and building awareness, and then getting them at some point to go do something else. Right? That's what you want to do, is use short to go to mid, to go to long, use top of the funnel to go to middle of the funnel, to go to bottom of the funnel. Right? This is how marketing works. One thing never solved it, except this industry has had some oddly enough, some success with seminars, but people who did seminars and did really well from them had systems built around them.
Yes.
And so that was not one thing. It wasn't just marketing. They had email. They had all kinds of other things happening that were really good. Anyway, that kind of stuff needs to all be built out into a plan and a system that works and builds over years. Right. So other things are like text, images, polls, blogs, white papers, presentations, checklists, things like that. So those are a lot of different forms of content that can actually be pulled and derived from a large format content. So always think, my opinion is, and our stance here at ProudMouth is, think about long format content and then break that into chunks. That is the way to go. So Matt, so I don't make this a 45-minute topic. Let me get on to the next question here. Number 3, we're going to see a lot more advisors becoming the faces and the voices of their company because of what we're just talked about.
Yeah.
How do you see that unfolding?
I see it massively unfolding. And I think more and more advisors are starting to get more comfortable. So the prediction is that you're going to start seeing figureheads, and some of them are not necessarily going to be the primary advisor, but they're going to be figureheads for the most successful firms. And by the way, we're already seeing this, right? If you look at the biggest RIAs, you look at the biggest OSJs, you look at those, they all have people where you say, that's the face of this company. Because you have to have that, and that person has to embody the personality and the values, and be that spokesperson. It's going to happen. It's already happening. And I definitely think that it's something that is going to lead into the next prediction. But I have to digress for a minute. So I'm going to pull a Kirk here for a minute. One of the most powerful things about this flipping medium is when you're going back and forth with somebody that you like and trust and have a lot of respect for, and just through this recorded, mostly organized conversation that we're having, Kirk, you just said something that was so flippin' powerful for ProudMouth's brand that I haven't heard you say on the podcast before, but is something that I want to have the marketing team assess, which is, we're a content engine. We're a content machine is actually what you said. If that is the most succinct way I've ever heard you explain what ProudMouth does.
It's so funny because I use that all the time internally. We just need to podcast more. So maybe I've been talking about that more.
Well, but I love that. But so I apologize for that being, but we always talk about the benefits. We talk about the atomic content method and how you take the long form content, which is your prediction, you turn it into everything that you can turn it into, right? And now we're talking about, the personality here, that the advisors are going to become the face of that. And since you and I, are the owners of this company, it's so fascinating that when we have this really focused time, that really, really magical stuff comes out of the back end. But let me get back to the prediction very quickly here.
No, let me add something
Okay,
there, because
sure.
I think this is, hey, we're here to help you guys understand how you need to think about all this stuff, right? So one of the things, sorry, I'm getting away from my father-in-law. Loves to interrupt when he's going to work. He lives with us. Hi, Chris. I'm sorry. We got to leave that into the podcast because stuff like
Absolutely.
this happens,
Yeah.
right? So here's the thing that I think our listeners will really like to understand. It's probably one of the more simple ways to think about content marketing. The content machine that we are, okay, is think of a circle, marketing as a circle. In the middle, you've got this content machine, okay? And that is long form, short form, all kinds of different mediums, and and content that can go through a lot of different channels, right? Email, blog post, social media articles, social media video, for social media. Video can also go in emails and other things, but you got all this content. You got short form, mid form, long form. You got to the point. You've got something that's longer, something that's intimate, something that's visual, something that's auditory. You've got all this, something that you can read. You got all this really incredible stuff and all these incredible places to help people, feel comfortable with your expertise, which is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Right. That's why we say if you're an expert, that means you compete in the expertise economy and you need to market like an expert.
Yeah.
Okay. But beyond this content engine, you can't just do this. What I mean by that is it's organic growth isn't fast enough for what you guys want and need for your business, right? It could still work. It takes longer. And by the way, this content has to be great. You can't just show up and do a BS podcast and sell and just have conversations with your buds. It doesn't work like that, or your colleagues. You have to show up and have value. We have a list of 7 things. We talked about this for half hour, maybe a little bit longer. We did more work on that with Jessica, and we've got a nice outline, prepared an outline after that. We knew what we wanted to talk about. We did some research on our own, came back, got this thing together, and we're following it pretty much. No, we are. Yeah. So beyond this engine is the peripheral is all this other work that needs to get done. That could be, just as an example, it could be ad spend. That's one way to accelerate it. But you can't ad spend until you're getting really good at your content, right? So you don't want to do that right out of the gate. Another thing is, you got to make sure you're sending emails to your customers, right? Here's a promo email about our episode, or here's a newsletter about other things we're doing. Here's a really great post we'd love you to comment on. I mean, you could do all kinds of neat things with email. Email is still amazing. If you're not using email, communicate with your customers, you're crazy. You own the email, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? You don't own LinkedIn, your audience on LinkedIn. So that's really important. But just think about how you introduce episodes or content in meetings or before a meeting. Hey, I know so-and-so, you're coming to a meeting where you're at the stage of your life. We're probably going to be talking about this. Right. I did an episode about it. I'd love for you to spend 30 minutes listening to this episode. If you don't have time to listen to the episode, here's the Coles Notes version.
Yep.
I've attached both of these for you. So they can come in and feel like they're in the know. Wouldn't that be amazing? Right? Like there's so many little things you can do. That's what moves you forward. You have to do enough to create momentum to move your influence forward. And if you aren't, the content engine alone is going to be a lot slower.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to figure that out. You need to understand. It's a long analogy, long story, but it's a very powerful one. I digress.
That's fine. It was a wonderful digression, right? In getting back to number 3 here, those figureheads, the faces of these companies, have to do what you were just talking about. I'm so glad that you went on that journey, because this is what the primary figurehead of an advisor needs to do. They need to be creating that core content and then realizing that there's all these other spokes and all these other things that need to happen in order for you to get that firm rolling. We call that escape velocity. It's the momentum marketing that we've talked about for a long time. So that is the third prediction.
Yeah. So how are some companies, actually, no, we're talking about the word of the year now. Oh, you love this part.
I do.
So we got 2 words of the year here. We've got one that's out into the world and then one that we made. I like them both.
Well,
It is.
in the word of the year is authentic, right? And unfortunately, I think, it's like fiduciary was in financial services, which for some reason they're still hanging on to, which is a stupid word to hang on to. Great definition, bad marketing. But authentic, we call it being your own loud here at ProudMouth. ProudMouth, it is the word of the year. And we're going to highlight an RIA that we feel is doing this better than any other RIA. I think there are a couple of RIAs who are trying to see this, but if you look at the exponential growth, and it's RFG's advisory, which is the name of the RIA. Shannon Spotswood is the figurehead, but now they brought in Brendan Fraser. He's also another figurehead, so another starting to hit. They've got Abby Salome. They've got all of these really unbelievable people who are truly authentic, and they're being themselves. And what's happening is RFG is exploding with growth. I don't understand, Kirk, why other RIAs aren't realizing that that's the model that they have to go. But the big thing is RFG's got a heck of a head start, dude. They've got so much phenomenal content. Abby's speaking, Brendan's speaking, Shannon speaking at conferences. They've got all of these different people that are representing, and it's all based off this authentic core self of who they want to attract. And man, we've talked about that for years and years. What we do is attraction marketing, right? We are going to pull your ideal client and prospect to start paying attention to your content, and they do that in spades.
Yeah. What they've done is they've scaled their credibility as an organization.
Yeah. So well.
It's very simple stuff. It's not hard to achieve. It's first thing is you got to have the mindset and you got to commit to it.
Discipline. Yeah.
The discipline, the mindset, they are just getting it done.
They are.
I'm super happy for them. We're really grateful to be part of their journey, and looking forward to doing a lot more with them and everybody who's into this, who gets it. If you get this stuff,
when they wake up, dude, when the other RIAs wake up and they realize that they're going to need to have that content engine, that content machine in the center of their organization. Because here's the thing, right? So RFG doesn't just do it externally. The people who are members of RFG consume RFG's content. So they're just reinforcing the values and great ideas and motivation. And man, they're just firing on all cylinders. So
dude, this is a wonderful time to go over the 5 ROIs.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Well, let's go ahead and we'll no. I want to save that to the end. Because so many people want to talk about return on investment, and that's going to be our final prediction. So,
okay, let's stoke everybody's engine here even more with number 5. Right. Just let it rip. I'm not.
Yeah. So this is what I'm speaking on all over at all of these conferences. Getting unbelievable sorts of feedback. It's the great wealth transfer. If you don't have this content machine in the hub of your whole business, you're going to lose 90% of trillions of dollars. The story that I tell, Kirk, and I have actually don't think I've ever given this presentation. I'm not going to do the whole thing. But one of the big things is I'm the executor of 2 out of the 4 estates that my family has. Okay, 2 out of the 4. But I am inheriting from all 4. So I am listed in trust. I know this because I've seen them. I have copies of them, that I am going to be a beneficiary of all 4 of these, right? Mm-hmm. Not one of their advisors have reached out to me, dude. Not one of them. I'm actually the executor on 2 of them, and they haven't reached out. And I sat down with my aunt last week, and I was like, your advisor hasn't reached out to me. And she's like, well, why would he? I was like, what are you talking about? Why would he? I'm going to be inheriting money from you.
Do any of them have content marketing?
No. And that's the other crazy thing is they're still marketing it like it's in the 1900s. And so let's use this as an example. So let's say, Kirk, I am a beneficiary of your estate, and I live in a different, I live in a different state, and I don't really know I don't really know your advisor very well. But then all of a sudden that advisor reaches out and says, hey, I don't know if you know this, but you're going to inherit $10 million from your great uncle, Kirk Lowe. And I'd really like to talk to you about it. the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look you up, right? And if you don't have, especially Gen X, those of us who are Gen X, if you don't have LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, X, sorry, I keep saying Twitter, any of the social medias, if your website's not killing it, if you're not giving me free information that I can quickly Google and look on YouTube and see your face and experience, your personality, you don't exist. And this is the system that we have worked so hard over the last 7 years to build. We have that machine in place so that you don't have to lose out on these assets in the great wealth transfer. But brother, it's happening, and it's going to continue to happen. And the advisors who are on our side of this fence are going to just start killing it. They're going to be getting so much of that money is going to stay within their firm if they just use the system.
Yeah. So we've got number 7 actually that really applies to 7. So just hang on to that for a second. But I'm going to ask Matt number 6 here, which is what?
Vanity metrics, dude. This is driving me crazy. I just was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. He's actually in our coaching program, and he was like, Matt, I'm not getting a whole bunch of downloads. And I was like, okay, how many downloads do you get? And he's like 400 or 500. Are you kidding me, dude? Those are like legit numbers. In fact, you're in the top, whatever it is, 45, 30% of all podcasts, at that number. And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, most podcasts get like 20 listens, right? You're actually up there. But it's all vanity metrics. And the number one thing that I say this in all of my presentations, and I say this on sales calls all the time, especially when people don't have a niche, is you're never going to outspend Ken Fisher, ever. You're never going to outspend Edward Jones. You're never going to outspend Ameriprise. You're never going to outspend TD or the apps, Robinhood, never. So you have to stop looking at vanity metrics. All of you want 10,000 downloads to your podcast, but you can't handle 10% of those people becoming clients, right? So stop it. Just stop it. It's stupid. It's a waste of time. It hurts your ego. It's you putting out quality content. And if people are listening to it, that's a value, which is really okay. So now I just totally teed you up with the ROI thing. We're going to wrap this up today with talking about the definition of insanity. So Kirk, go ahead. Where are we at with the last prediction?
Yeah. I don't know how many of you are going to take this to heart, but I hope some of you do. And the fact is that, the definition of insanity is thinking that, understanding what needs to change and not doing anything about it. So I'm going to tell you what needs to change. 5 years from now, if you don't have a podcast, you're going to be far behind. When websites came, think about this. When websites came, or don't have content really. When websites came, if you didn't have one and then you got one, more or less you were on par with everybody else. It's like you caught up. Wasn't the end of the world. Wasn't great that you're late to the party there. If they had a system of creating owned audience and emails and all that kind of stuff and building SEO, now they've got you there. So, but with content, if you start and you've got 10 episodes and somebody else has 200 or 100, what do you think? That's a pretty big difference. They've way more practiced. They're probably going to have a lot more of a system than you're going to have starting out. They're going to be, they're going to be better at it. Obviously, they're going to understand their audience more, and they're going to be rolling along, and you're going to be playing catch up. And the only way to catch up is to spend a lot more money. And there's a lot of waste when you try to rush stuff. So insanity is thinking that this is going to be, that waiting any longer is going to change anything for you. It's not. You have to have a content marketing plan. There is no, well, what's going to work? Content marketing. No. Tell me which tactic. Content marketing. It's not a tactic. It's a strategy.
Yeah.
Right. That's why earlier I was talking about, don't think about video as the answer to all your problems. Video is one thing that can have a big impact. It's playing a specific role in a strategy of content marketing. You got to figure out how you're going to get into this. If you have to start a little bit smaller, but it can't just be, I'm going to produce a video and put it on one channel. You got to think bigger. And that's why ProudMouth has had some success in helping people who are minds are there is that we can, our atomization system gets you there quicker. That's why we say we're influence accelerators, and then we teach you how to do all the other stuff. And now we're actually doing more and more for people. But you can't, this isn't a nice to have, right? This is, you got to have it. And you can't compare having, 10 episodes to 100 episodes when you're there. Just the amount of stuff you learn. And here's, I'm going to get Matt to do. When we talked about ROI, it means something different to us in the content marketing world. It means return on influence. If you're caught up on the word influence because you've heard the word influencers, stop. Don't, you're wasting your brain power.
Yeah.
Right? Don't just accept that influence is a thing, building authority is a thing, and let it rip. These 5 things are so critical. I'll let Matt say them. He's great at it.
Well, it's because we just believe this to our core. So return on influence is basically, number one, the content itself has value. And I liken it to the piece of artwork that you have on your wall in your office that you paid money for because you want your office to look really nice, but you don't go up to that painting and start yelling at the painting saying, "You've never gotten me a client," right? Content really is actually art. It's an art form. It doesn't matter if it's a good quality or bad quality, it's still art, right? You are telling stories, you're providing entertainment, you're providing education. Those are really, really important for you to keep in mind. So number one, the content itself has value. Number two, the number one reason why a client leaves an advisor is because they don't feel communicated to. They don't feel listened to. They don't feel like you're paying any attention. We solve that for you by providing you so much amazing content for you to share with your clients. And some of you will say, I hear this at conferences all the time, "Oh, Matt, you know what? I'm going to be putting out too much stuff." No, because what happens nowadays, people just swipe by. They know they saw you, you're there, you exist, but I don't want to really read it right now. They're just going to swipe right by. So I'm not saying that you're going to email every single solitary social media post. No, that's annoying as hell. Email has a very specific role, but the client communication is huge. And if you do it correctly, you're going to increase the amount of referrals that you get. And even better, you're going to be able to get a greater share of wallet from your existing clients. And we've got stories upon stories of our advisors getting greater share of wallet by just bringing on one of the other ones, which is COIs, which I'll get to in a second. Number 3, audience communication. So we have this thing called the influence continuum here, right? Where we want people to be moving from skeptics to fans. Skeptics are that they don't know, they don't like, they don't trust you. You're just some schmuck hawking stuff online. Well, when you use our system, you're actually moving people across this continuum so that they become fans. Now, there's a couple of components about fans that are really good. The first one is they know, like, and trust you. Right. So, and then even better, they know, like, and trust you to the point when they really truly become fans that they actually do a lot of the selling for you. Kirk, you and I experience this all the time in business, right? We were talking about Gavin Hammer, by the way, who we're both huge fans of him. He's got this great new product. He had a great old product, but Kirk Lowe, that you probably sell his stuff as much as he does. I mean, not really, because it's his full-time job, but you talk about it all the time because you are a fan of Gavin Hammer. By the way, if you guys don't know who that is, Google him. He's amazing. All right. Audience communication is huge. Move those people from skeptics to fans. Number 4, COIs. Man, our whole system, how we built ProudMouth, was we brought marketing experts on to our podcast, client communication experts, relationship experts, people who have difficult conversations experts, other advisors, other podcasting people. We brought them on the show and deepened the relationship with them. And you know what? They're fans of ProudMouth.
Other marketers.
We were doing
podcast people too.
We were looking at our closest allies, and we were a little bit shocked that they weren't actually as many advisors as we wanted, even though there was a halfway decent amount. The people who were really interacting with our stuff were fellow marketers, fellow podcasters, our competition, part of this content machine that we're talking about, but they know who we are. And so we've worked really hard on that. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge thing that you can do for your practice. Bring on an estate planning attorney, bring on a CPA, bring on a divorce attorney, bring on a real estate agent. And just so all of you guys know, we have a whole system for this. It's a huge piece of our managed influence acceleration service. And it's something that we would love to be able to talk to you about. And then the fifth one, which is what all of you are waiting for, which is net new assets. And my friend Jimmy Williams, who does not use our system because he started podcasting before Kirk and I even built this darn thing, he attributes $1 million in new assets per month from his content marketing machine. The hub of that, it happens to be a podcast with video, but he knows that the momentum that he's built with hundreds of episodes that he's done for his community is how he brings in real new revenue. So those are the things. The content itself has value. It's the best client communication tool you're ever going to have, which is going to help you retain clients. Audience communication, moving those people from skeptics to fans. COI, deepen those relationships. And then, of course, what do you all want, which is net new business. So did I miss anything, Kirk?
No, you didn't.
I freaking love that.
I
love talking about this.
You tell it differently every time, which is the wonderfulness of Matt. And I mean that sincerely, right? You guys, a different way to hear it every time is good. Sticking to the 5 ROIs, really the 5 ROIs of influence, right? But influence anyway. Maybe you can send us off here. This was hopefully you guys really loved this episode. We have fun doing these. We have fun all the time doing this stuff. Yeah, that's another thing about doing this.
It's fun.
We didn't put it in there because people don't like to hear that as a benefit of something. It's fun. No, I'm not here to have fun. Yeah, you should be.
You should be.
If you watch people who there's 2 sides to fun, right? There's a lot of value, have fun delivering value, and then there's just sitting there having fun on a podcast. People aren't here to listen to be entertained by your podcast. You can entertain them. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, occasionally, we can achieve that. I know Matt's good at that. But we're really here to deliver value, and we have fun delivering that because we're into this stuff, clearly. So, but I know you've got some really cool stuff that you're doing. That's now a product here at ProudMouth, and we're so excited to see how this is going to evolve in the next couple of years. Well, we know how it's going to evolve. It's going to be amazing. But Matt's going to introduce you guys to that, and I think it's really important.
Well, I'm going to go back over those 5 real quick. So first off, that AI is going to stream your marketing process, but you still need the human touch. The second one is you have to have authentic content. The third one is that advisors are going to start needing to realize that they have to step into that figurehead role. Number 4 is you have to be authentic, whether that's your company, whether that's your big company, whether you're a solo advisor, you have to really be you, because if you're not you, who else are you going to be? Because everybody else is taken. If you don't start using this content machine, you're going to miss out on, $74 trillion. That should wake all of you up. Stop looking at the damn vanity metrics. They don't mean anything. They don't do you any good. And that is a prediction that more and more people are going to realize that they're just a bunch of crap and they need to stop paying attention to it. And then the whole idea of if you don't start now, you're really going to be even more behind. So I want to introduce all of you to the Sonic Boom coaching program. So Kirk and I have taken the last 6 months to build this system. And basically what it is you have 2 tracks. Number 1, if you want to get started, or number 2, if you want to get better. So we've got an entire team of people who are going to be able to help you on this journey here at ProudMouth. Sonic Boom Sonic Boom Coaching Regular is to get you rolling. You have to create this content machine. So our team is going to be able to help you build everything that you need in order to get this momentum with an amazing workbook, great accountability, and frequent calls. But more importantly, you're going to be hanging out with other people just like you who want to get this content machine rolling. And then the second level is Sonic Boom Pro, Sonic Boom Coaching Pro. And this is if you already have an existing podcast and you want to get better. And let me tell you, you all need to learn how to get better. I listen to a lot of your shows. You're making a lot of mistakes, and we have basically deconstructed almost the perfect podcast, the perfect content marketing machine, and we put it into a system for you step by step. And that's another wonderful community building thing that we're doing. You're going to meet with our team here to help build that community, hang out with other advisors, other professionals just like you who want to get better. So with that, everybody, I want to thank you for joining us today. And for Kirk and all of us here at ProudMouth, this is Matt Halloran. I'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon. Better? Okay. All right. Good.
Fire.
Yeah. Okay. Let's stop this. Oh.